What is up, people? Van from the Vanverse Gaming channel here, bringing you another video on Remnant from the Ashes. In today's video, we're going to cover the strategies and drops of the two world bosses on Earth. You will get one or the other when you beat Earth. You have to kill a world boss to move on to the next areas. So you'll have to re-roll Earth maybe a couple times to get both bosses. Now, each boss has two different ways to kill them, so you will want to fight each boss twice. We're going to start with Singe, and then we're going to go into the end at the end of the video here. So let's get started with Singe. So before you enter the area, you're probably going to want to drink a hydro coolant, which will give you some good burning resistance. And basically what he's going to do is he's going to shoot some fireballs at you that are easily dodged, and then he's going to do an arcing fire breath, which lights all of the oil on the ground on fire. And if you're close enough, you can't dodge it, it'll light you on fire as well. If you do get lit on fire and get burning, you can easily dodge roll a couple times and get rid of the burning effect, so you don't have to waste another hydro coolant and stop to try and click a consumable. In addition to his fireball and his arcing fire breath, he will get up in the air on his back feet. If you don't do enough damage to him and you're close enough, he will slam the ground and send a fire wave at you. And sometimes if you get too close to him, he will actually fly backwards and try and do some more damage to you from a distance. He won't stay in the same spot. Now, other than those attacks, the only real thing you have to worry about is that the area itself will be destroyed. So if you happen to be standing behind a barrier and he hits it with a fireball, that barrier will explode, and then you won't be able to stand behind it for the next attack. Also, you have to contend with the adds that come. They are actually fairly easy. They're root adds, which are very easy. But if they happen to run through one of the pools of fire, or he happens to breathe fire on them, he turns them into an elite mob, which is a little bit harder to kill. And then they also do burning damage as well. So when you're fighting him, he has one weak point on his chest. If you shoot him in the glowing yellow circle on his chest, that's going to be his weak point. You can see it most times when he attacks and also when he stands up to do one of his heavy attacks. In addition to that, you can also shoot off his tail. So if you choose to shoot him in the front and to try and hit his weak point and kill him that way, you will be rewarded with a blazing heart, which can be handed into McCabe at Ward 13 to get you a Spitfire SMG. So the Spitfire is very similar to the regular SMG, but it shoots fire bullets. And on top of that, you can do its mod, which is when you have a boss weapon, the mod is permanent. You can't change it. It basically turns the gun into a flamethrower for a certain amount of time, depending on how much you've charged that mod. If you choose to try and shoot off his tail, then you will get the melee weapon called Smolder, which is basically a fire sword, and he'll drop the dragon links, which you hand into McCabe, and then she'll give you Smolder the fire sword. And if you do a regular attack, you have a % chance of setting the thing you're fighting on fire, which makes burning. If you do a heavy attack on it, which is a charged attack, you have a 100% chance of doing burning to the creature you are fighting. So both are really cool weapons to have. I like to go for the fire sword first, but knocking off his tail is actually pretty difficult. So here we go. That is the Singe fight. Okay, people, let's talk about the end boss. The end boss is much harder than Singe because of the root rot and infected. So before you enter, you're going to want to drink an oil skin tonic to get resistance to root rot, and then you're going to want to also have 4 or 5 on you so that you can clear root rot through the fight. You do not want to be infected in this fight and stop randomly and start coughing, because it's probably going to lead to your death. Now, this boss has several mechanics. His first one is going to be a stomp. When he stomps the ground, it's going to send a wave 360 degrees around him that you have to roll through. In addition to that, he will do a ground slam with his 2 fists. When he does a ground slam, he usually does 2 in a row, and it will send a wave directly in front of him, so you can dodge roll straight through the waves. His third attack is where he gets down on his hands and knees and his back turns into a mortar fire, and he will start shooting mortars out of his back. As long as you run in a straight line and you're sprinting and you don't stop, you can dodge the mortars. However, if you happen to get hit by one of them, you're going to take damage, you're going to get root rot, and it's going to stagger you. If you get staggered by a first one and he's continuing to shoot mortars at you, you will keep getting hit if you don't keep dodge rolling away from them. In addition to that, he will do a scream. When he screams, it will stun you for a quick second, and then it will summon a bunch of adds all around you. So you want to take those adds out and keep them off of you. Randomly, throughout doing those mechanics, he will also drop hearts that explode off of his body, and they will run towards you. If he does a ground slam or a stomp, he usually kills them, but sometimes they will get to you before he kills them, and you got to make sure to kill them so they don't explode and get you root rot. That is the hardest part of this fight, is trying to deal with the adds and the root rot. Once you have all that under control and you can practice dodge rolling through the waves, his weak spot is going to be on the top of his head, right behind his neck. The only time you can hit his weak spot where you're not going to take damage is when he does a ground slam with both fists. As soon as he slams the ground, you're going to dodge roll forward through the wave and shoot him in the weak spot. And you can do it twice because he usually slams the ground twice. If you kill him this way, you're going to get the Spore Bloom you're going to get a Twisted Heart, and you can hand it into McCabe at Ward 13 and get a Spore Bloom, which is a great one-shot shotgun. The other way to kill him is by shooting him in the leg. If you continue to shoot him in his legs, eventually one leg will fall off, he will fall on the ground, and then the stomp and the ground slam will go away, and he'll just crawl at you and try and get as close as he can and melee you. He can still do the mortar fire while on the ground when he's missing a leg. If you choose to take off his leg and then kill him, you will be rewarded with a Twisted Heart, and that's going to get you the Petrified Maul melee weapon, which does really good damage, and if you do the heavy attack and slam the ground, it actually does AoE damage. So I misspoke. The Spore, you get a gland to get the Spore Bloom if you kill him the other way. So that is why this fight is so hard, is basically it's really hard to hit his weak spot. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Van from Vaniverse Gaming Channel. Cheers and peace out.